Hey, what up, everybody? Personally, I can't wait for week 2. We got Panthers, we got Texans. Used to cover the Panthers, now cover the Texans still. And there's a lot that we want to see coming up in week 2 of the preseason. You don't see a lot of action in week 3, so that's why we think week 2 will be the week where we see a lot of growth. Still don't know what to do there. Haven't honestly looked too hard. There have been a lot of good ideas. If you got some ideas, put your comments in there. But this is going to be what is on your wish list going into week 2. What do you want to see? If you're the Texans, of course, a lot of that focuses on the defense. So that's where we're going to focus. Nick Caley, I want you to expand the playbook now, and I think that's an obvious, right? I think the foundation was built week 1 against the Vikings. I think the first drive with Davis Mills and first-ish team offense looked pretty dang good. I think the offensive line created a lot of holes. They protected the quarterback. They allowed 0 pressures. They scored a touchdown. They were physical. They did what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. And now I want Nick Caley to expand that playbook a little bit more, maybe a little bit of motion, whatever this offense needs to do in order to be comfortable week 1 against the Rams. That's what we need to see here in week 2, because, again, we're not going to get a whole lot of playing time from the big names come week 3 against the Lions, especially with a joint practice against Dan Campbell's boys as well. At the quarterback position for C.J. Stroud, if he plays, I don't think we have an answer on whether he's going to play yet or not, but if he plays, I don't need him to light it up. Same thing really with the offense. I need timing. I need the timing with the receivers to look good. I need him to have time, be comfortable back there, be able to stand tall, bounce in the pocket. He did today at one point. At one point, it was like, did he have too much time? Of course, we're not actually playing that game with Stroud, but I just want the timing for C.J. Stroud to be good. I want him to build confidence behind that offensive line. You saw Davis Mills have confidence against the Vikings. I want C.J. to now have that confidence and keep those feet quiet. That was on Stressen's podcast. Great podcast, by the way. And he asked me, does he think, or do I think, that the feet of C.J. Stroud have been, has that issue been put to bed in the offseason? And I don't think it's something you can put to bed in the offseason, but I do think they can fall asleep in the offseason. They're hibernating right now. And I want C.J. Stroud to be behind that offensive line, and I want them to stay asleep. Don't wake them up. Don't let the defense get around those feet, create those hot feet, and start bouncing around again and start speeding things up. Have C.J. Stroud create good timing with his wide receivers and have confidence in his offensive line. Don't go out there and do some crazy things in order to ruin that. Just do what you know you can execute successfully, and just have him have that success and that confidence. In the running back room, we know we're not going to see Joe Mixon. I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of Nick Chubb or not, but I would like to see Nick Chubb stand up and be the guy that he wants to be and that the Texans want him to be. I don't know if that guy is still in there. We need to find out. And I've also said during training camp that training camp is a really tough place to judge Nick Chubb. Nick is not a flashy, quick, explosive style running back. He is a downhill, aggressive, and physical running back. I want to see him in a game. That's when you can really trust or really judge what you're trust what you're judging is in a game. Preseason is fine with me. Let's get him out there. Let's have him build some confidence as well. But that's when I can see what Nick Chubb has to offer. Can he hit the gap? Can he bounce inside and or outside? Does he have that physicality still behind his pads? That's the kind of style that he has. Now, who's running back 2? Is it going to be Woody Marks, Jawan Johnson? Is it going to be Darian Gumbawale? What are we seeing from those guys? Who's going to pop? I've heard a lot of good reports from Woody Marks. Is he ready to take those kind of carries? Because at running back 2, you're going to have carries. There's going to be opportunity for you. Right now, obviously, Darian Gumbawale has proven that he can be running back 2. Do the Texans want him to be running back 2 is the question. We'll find out. I want to see that. Wide receiver room is pretty much solidified at the top. We have Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. The 2 rookies, Christian Kirk and Nico Collins. And after that, I think Braxton Berrios looks pretty good, especially with what he does on special teams. And then after him, Xavier Hutchinson doing a lot of running with the ones, getting a lot of opportunity out there, and he's looked good. I even saw him on punt coverage in training camp as well. doing things that he doesn't usually do, giving him another chance to make this team. John Mechie, he's looked pretty dang good throughout training camp. Is there a spot for him to be the seventh wide receiver? Are you going to keep 7 wide receivers? So who's going to be 5, 6, 7? What is their role going to be? Who's going to kind of stand out from there? I thought Braxton really had a nice game against the Vikings. Not like he did a whole lot, but that touchdown catch, if you don't think that rang bells within the Texans coaching staff, I promise you it did. D'Amico talked about it, and that's the style that he wants to play. He wants a receiver that buys in mentally to what the Texans are. He wants players all over the roster to buy in mentally to what the Texans are. And that's finishing runs, finishing catches and routes solidly and physically. And that's what Braxton did. He caught that ball, it goes to the pylon and finishes that run physically. That's what D'Amico wants permeating throughout the entire building, no matter what your position is. That's what he wants to see. Engineer says, trade Mechie for a guard. Okay, who? What guard are you getting that is going to be good enough for a wide receiver that you might get a 6th or 7th rounder back? Maybe. The problem is you're just not getting offensive linemen that are of value at this point, which I guess we can transition into the offensive line from there. Continue your growth. Continue what you did against the Vikings. Create holes for the running back. Protect your quarterback again. Allowed 0 pressures against the Vikings. I know that it wasn't the first team defense for the Vikings. I don't care. Do what you're supposed to do against who you're supposed to do it against. Like, beat the bad teams. Take advantage of it being against the second string. Don't come back to us like we did last year and be like, well, it was against the second string and they still couldn't. Like, they were still pressured. There were question marks all throughout the preseason and training camp last year, and we explained it away a little bit because we just kind of assumed that the offense was going to be good. We had no idea that the blocking schemes were so convoluted and complicated. We didn't know that the offensive line wasn't very good. We weren't just aware of a lot of the issues with Bobby Slowick, and then obviously we learned and found out, unfortunately. So I want them to continue the progress. Keep that culture shift from last year to this year going and growing. Be willing to be physical and be good to protect your quarterback. And defensively, just do you. I don't know that I have a lot of requests. I trust D'Amico Ryans. I trust Matt Burke. I trust everybody on defense to be good and ready to go by the time week 1 hits. Go out there. All I need to see, I don't need to see it. I just kind of assume that every defensive starter wants at least 1 series. They want to kind of make a tackle for the first time of the season and be ready for week 1. I remember talking to Luke Kuechly about it all the time. Hall of Fame linebacker, always wanted to have at least 1 series to put pads on a guy. He just kind of wanted to get that feeling in him again and be ready to go for the regular season. Didn't need a full series. I didn't need a full quarter, I should say, or a whole bunch of snaps. Just needed to kind of get his feet wet and do it again. And that's what I want to see from the defense. Get everybody in there that wants to be in there. For instance, if Azeez Al-Shaair doesn't really need it, doesn't want it, that's fine. I'm good with that. On the other side of the ball, I need C.J. Stroud in there. I need to see C.J. Stroud be confident behind this offensive line. I need to see the wide receivers work with him. I need to see the tight ends work with C.J. Stroud as well. I need to see everything from the offense. I need them to put something on tape. And not just for me, for them too. They need to know that they have confidence. They've built up enough of a repertoire to know that come week 1 against the Rams that they're feeling confident. That can't be their first time trying to figure some things out. I know they did today against the Panthers in a joint practice, and they looked really good to start. Slowed down a little bit after that. How do they adjust? How do they adapt? How does Nick Caley adjust? How does he adapt? That's the kind of stuff that we really want to see from this offense. This is your time to do that because you don't want to do it in week 3. You want to have it. God forbid there's an injury in week 3. There's less time to recover. There's 1 bye week, and then the week's hits. You don't have a whole lot of time. So God forbid there is an injury, and it's not major. You have an extra week if you go out there in week 2 and do what you need to do, and you can have – and then if God forbid you still can't figure some things out and you have a lot of question marks, you have to play in week 3. You at least have the ability to do so. But again, you also have the joint practices with the Lions, which I think is going to be beneficial for them. Mechie is going to make the team, says a name I'm not trying to pronounce. Oh, hell with it. Ola Bosipo Ogunmodidi. There's no way I nailed that. Can I buy a vowel? But Mechie might make the team. I don't know that Mechie won't make the team, honestly. That's what I'm saying. Do they keep 7 wide receivers? But if Mechie's making the team, who's not making the team? Braxton Berrios, like Xavier Hutchinson? Maybe. Mechie's looked good enough in years past to have – he's already made the team, but he's looked better than he has in years past. Let's say it that way. But Xavier Hutchinson is getting run with the ones. He's getting more of an opportunity. When you see that happening, you're either trying to trade him and you really want to put him out there in situations, which I don't think you really do in practice and in training camp and in the scrimmage like you did today. That's more of a preseason thing. I don't think that's really the way the Texans operate anyway. But who's not making it if you don't keep 7 wide receivers? Dan says, I have heard Titus Howard has not looked good. He wasn't in practice when I was there, so it's tough to really judge it. He didn't play against the Vikings either. We're going to find out this weekend, I hope, against the Panthers. That's another thing I want to see. It doesn't look like Cam Robinson's going to play. It looks like Ariante Ursary can do pretty much anything at left tackle or right tackle. And if he's your left tackle right now, why not just make him your left tackle now and ride him for the rest of his career? Make him your left tackle of the future. That's the hardest spot to find, right? So why not take Ariante Ursary, make him your left tackle, and let's go. Cam Robinson can play right tackle. Or Blake Fisher. Blake did not look good against the Vikings. I don't think they're going to quit on him yet. But I haven't loved what I've seen from Blake Fisher. He did get some run with the ones this week on, what's today, Thursday, Wednesday in training camp. He did get some run there. So they haven't given up on him. He's still getting some opportunities. Engineer says, first 2 weeks looking like no Stafford and no Tristan Wirfs, some favorable matchups to allow the offense some breathing room to learn. Maybe. I don't know. Without Stafford practicing, it's like that's crazy that Stafford's not practicing. That is a dude that plays and practices and does anything and everything through everything and anything. He's one of the toughest sons of a guns in the entire league. So that would be a great benefit for the Texans if he didn't play. And then Tristan Wirfs, if he doesn't play, that would be obviously great. Don't give me this whole you want to play their best the best of the best on each team. Hey, my wife sung why. You want to come say hi? You sure? She needs to get her receipts to make some returns. Lots of returns. She creeped in like a bad guy in a movie, as if that wasn't going to distract. Kind of like this. No, toes high, knees high. So anyway, Tristan, yeah, that'd be great. Of course, play your teams as weak as possible. This isn't college football where you get judged on how the win looked and who it was against and what was the temperature of the day and like all this I don't care. Play the team as depleted as humanly possible, get the win, move on to next week. A win in the NFL is as good against a good team as it is a bad team. It doesn't matter at all. Engineer, again, Blake should get cut. I just don't know. Like, I'm not saying he's good, but there's a huge gap between not being good and not being your starting right tackle and not even being serviceable as an emergency backup. Who's out there that's better than him that they trust more or know more or knows the scheme more at this point? And I'm not saying he won't get cut. It may be. Maybe the coaching staff in the front office has given up on Blake. Maybe. The issue is just who are you going out there to find that you find better than him right now? We'll find out on cut day if maybe there is somebody. I think they're keeping 7 wide receivers, and Watson might not make the team. Yeah, I don't think Watson will make the team. But maybe 7, usually 6, maybe 7. I don't know. That spot, I hate to say it, is now there is an extra spot with Brevin Jordan if he was going to make the team, which presumably they were going to keep all 3 tight ends. They now are only going to keep Dalton Schultz and Cade Stover, of course. Maybe that opens a spot for another wide receiver. I don't know. You hate to look at it like that, but it's the reality of a roster building. I'm curious what else is on your wish list, what you want to see this weekend. I think it's going to be fascinating, depending on who we see. But no matter who's out there, it's going to be fun to watch what Nick Caley does with the offense, how he continues to build that culture at the offensive line, what they're willing to do. And if Cam Robinson, I was listening to something that he's not loving the idea of not playing left tackle. Well, if you're injured and there's a younger, maybe better left tackle option, guess what, dude? Go to right tackle, prolong your career, play a couple extra years in the league and be a starter. I don't know. Far be it for me to say, but whatever. I want to see Jaden Higgins separate himself. Yeah, and I think that comes in with the route tree. I want to see Nick Caley expand the route tree and the play calling a little bit more than what we saw in week 1 of preseason against the Vikings. It was very simple, which is fine, but I just want to see a little bit more. I want to see Jaden Higgins use his body, but also run his routes like a Jalen Knoll. That's what Cecil Short said here on Kicking It with Kunkel, is that if you watch Jaden Higgins, and ironically, it was like, I was kind of pumped because it was the first thing I noticed when I watched them in OTAs or whatever it was something in the bubble. But the way he ran his routes and the way he worked his hips he was so fast out of his breaks, as if he wasn't a big body, as if he wasn't a beast. So I'm pumped to see him run a little bit more of those routes. I'd like to see Nico out there, maybe just for the sake of the offense as a whole. I don't need to see Nico in and of himself. And you almost know that there's a point where that hamstring might flare up. So let's avoid extra reps, if you will, before we get to that point. Let's pray that also doesn't happen this year, because Nico Collins is by far your best playmaker on this offense. If you lose Nico, you have nobody that is proven. Dalton Schultz had a bad year. Tate Stover, we don't know. He's a playmaker at this point. We think he's certainly going to earn more snaps. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, obviously, as rookies, they have nothing on tape to say that they're playmakers in this league. No Joe Mixon at this point. Nick Chubb, we don't know what we're going to get from him. Is Darian Gumbawale is certainly not an illustrious playmaker. We don't know anything about Woody Marks. Like, we got to keep Nico Collins healthy. He's priority number 1 after C.J. Stroud. Nico Collins has to stay healthy. So if he doesn't play, I'm okay with it. I don't need to see that with Nico. We know what we're getting. So I'll end it there. Let me know. Comment below. Let me know what I should put here. A lot of people have had some great ideas. There was a whiteboard idea, which was pretty cool. There was an LED light with my logo, Kicking It with Kunkel, on there. That was cool. I kind of want something like American driven. I don't know what, and I kind of want something vertical, because we got the vertical stuff over here. We got the horizontal stuff here. Could be a weatherman. But yeah, anyway, just kind of curious what y'all think and what you got in mind. Other than that, pumped for week 2. I'm pumped that it's at Energy Stadium. I'm pumped that we get to be there in person and watch it and talk to the boys afterwards. I'll do a full rapid reaction afterwards. Let me know what you guys think as well. I love hearing your guys' opinions, because we did a rapid reaction after the Vikings and you guys killed it. Some awesome thoughts. And I want more of that in this video, and I want more of that in the next video as well. All right, that's going to do it for this. I appreciate everybody tuning in. You guys are the best. Subscribe to the channel, please. Like this video as well, please. It helps the algorithm. It helps me personally. And then share it. Just share it with your buddies and your friends if you're Panther fans or Texans fans. And pumped to see the Texans. I'm really excited to see what Derek Brown looks like after that injury last year. That sucked for him. A lot of good people over there in that organization. So I'm pumped for all of it. And I will also be on Black and Blue Kickoff Live with Gabe and the boys and Carla to start the show. I don't know exactly what time it is. I think it's 10 Central, 11 Eastern. It's a noon game, so I think that sounds right. Anyway, I'll be on the show with them. If you guys are in Carolina watching, be pumped to have you guys tune in and hear from y'all. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.